94.5 PST, it's Rashad. I have on the phone with me Kendall Schmidt, formerly of Big Time Rush, and currently with Heffron Drive. How are you, buddy?
Dude, doing all right. Hanging out in a little New York City.
Nice, nice. What are you doing in New York?
I'm actually doing some meetings, just some content meetings about how I'm going to promote my new music and stuff like that.
Gotcha, yeah. So you moved on to another band, Heffron Drive. Do you still keep in contact with the guys from Big Time Rush?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, when James was on Dancing with the Stars, I went to the second to last episode, which unfortunately was the one that he got kicked off of.
Yeah.
But then I also went to another episode. I'm trying to remember when it was. But yeah, I've seen two of his, so obviously we always support each other on that just because it's important.
Absolutely.
And then, I see the guys. Carlos is a bit of a cruise kid, so he seems to be on constant vacation.
With his new wife?
I had to do with his new wife, which as he should be. He should be enjoying that. If
right.
He get married, he should definitely enjoy it. And Logan, I've seen at the Dancing with the Stars stuff as well, but we're all kind of off making our own stuff happen. So besides mutual interest or having meetings to talk about future tours and stuff, I haven't really seen him all that much. Gotcha.
Would you ever do Dancing with the Stars?
I think I would try to avoid it as much as possible, just because dancing is not something that I want to spend too much time doing. Because I like doing it for Big Time Rush, but I don't necessarily like doing it for a show where I need to learn the tango.
So you just mentioned that you're still having meetings with the guys about future projects. Does that mean Big Time Rush isn't over? Because I know that the TV show is done, but it sounds like you guys are still a group, and there's a chance down the line that you'll release new music and maybe go on tour. Is that true?
Well, I guess the best way to explain it is, yes, the actual television show, filming of new episodes is totally done. But, I also never count it out, because if it's beneficial for everybody to make something new, then I can't imagine. We're all intelligent guys, and we're never trying to shoot ourselves in the foot either. So,
right.
If it seems like it's something that's going to be good for everyone, and also timing-wise, because we all have things we're doing independently now. So, just have to line up. In fact, I just got an email about the first time of it was like, if this all lines up to everyone's personal schedules, please let me know if it doesn't. So, it's definitely something that's been touched on. But no, the band is not over. And plus, music is music. You can make music at any time. I'm sure if we wanted to make an album in our mid-30s, we could do that too. I'm not sure that we would.
Right.
But it's definitely possible.
Gotcha. All right, so you have this new band called Heffron Drive. And kind of tell us about how you put that together. From what I understand, it's you and it's the touring guitarist of Big Time Rush. You guys came together, and now there's Heffron Drive, essentially.
Yes, all right, so it's kind of a funny story. So Heffron Drive started, so Dustin, the touring guitarist of Big Time Rush, Dustin, only got that job because I was like, hey, we need a band. Obviously, we need a live band. I think it was the first show we really had was the Today Show, and then there was also, we were doing some performance in Times Square. Our first real performance was in Times Square.
Okay.
So they're like, we need a band. And I was immediately, Dustin and I had made Heffron Drive songs before I even booked Big Time Rush. And, I was like, well, I want to keep them involved. Plus, I always had a dream of doing it after. I never anticipated I'd be in a band that would give me such a big platform.
Right.
But anyway, so I was like, well, I know a guy who can play guitar. So he started playing guitar from us from day one. And we pretty much played every single show that Big Time Rush has played together. And now that I have time, we're just working on stuff. And believe me, I'm taking the helm as far as the production part of it.
Right.
I'm funding everything independently. It's under my own label, so I've definitely really taken the helm of it. But Dustin is a great guitarist, and he's also really helps me write lyrics on a lot of songs. So we've sort of found this teamwork kind of vibe thing that works really well between us. And plus, when I'm on the road, for instance, doing meetings now, Dustin's back at the house in my studio figuring out how to mix our songs best.
Right.
So that, we can cut costs in that world too.
So you're funding this project on your own. How is that different, or which would you prefer? Big Time Rush had the label behind it, and now that you're doing this by yourself, do you feel as though you appreciate it more?
All right. So what I appreciated most about the labels is now what I'm currently dealing with myself. My only personal overhead besides my living situation, just house and all that kind of stuff, for business is plane tickets and hotels.
Wow.
That's my only overhead. So I was looking actually online the other day. I was looking at a first-class ticket to England, not for any particular reason. I just was looking at how much tickets were costing.
Yeah.
And the first-class ticket to London, even planned far enough ahead of time, was pushing $10,000, $15,000.
Wow.
So I quickly realized what Nickelodeon and Sony were paying for, and they were paying for all the travel costs.
Yeah.
They were paying for all that stuff. So now that I'm doing that myself, I really realize how much it costs, and I'm obviously being way more cost effective than I was when I wasn't paying for it.
Of course.
But I learned. I just absorbed everything. When we were going through the whole experience, I absorbed as much as I possibly could from them and from the way they do it. And I also learned the things that I think are dirty habits that I wouldn't want to continue on in my own personal career.
Right.
Like, a label has just as much pork belly spending as the government does.
Right.
So,
okay.
So it really is something that if you can cut costs and make it efficient, it has to be modern. Like the whole label business, the way it is now, is ancient. It's been unchanged since the 60s, and music has changed an incredible amount since the 60s. So, like, I think the only way to really do it now is to either, if you're going to be with a label, you have to know that they're going to own a vast majority of everything you have.
Right.
If you do it independently, it's going to cost you a crap load of money personally. But if something really does well, then it's way more beneficial for you in the long run because you're your own boss.
Right, right.
I've been having a blast being my own boss. I like being able to make all the decisions. It's really fun.
Absolutely. Let's switch gears and talk about your family. You have two brothers, both of which were actors. Was that something that your family pushed when you guys were younger?
No, if anything, it was something that we pushed as the kids. I don't know what really inspired my oldest brother to get into acting. But as soon as he did, I think, if anything, my parents were just happy that there was something that they could spend their time, helping our dreams come true.
Right.
I think for a lot of kids, the hardest thing that they ever have to do is decide what the hell they want to do with their life.
Right.
It's very difficult. So I think my parents were just happy that we had some sort of inspiration and dream, and they pushed it. Like, I never had a momager. I never had a dadager. They never were involved with my business. My dad is only involved with my bookkeeping now just because it's more cost-effective that way.
Yeah.
But never were involved with my business. So if anything, it was just like having a really supportive parents who drove us to all our auditions, and then everything else was, really up to us, whether we wanted to continue or not. And there was even times where, like, my middle brother was like, "I'm done." When he was like 16, he's like, "I'm done."
Yeah.
And then he took a year off, came back, and now we're both successful in the acting world. In fact, my oldest brother, Kenneth, who started it, was when he was like 17 or 18. He's like, "You know what? I'm done. I'm going to college." And he just now graduated law school with an intellectual property degree. So,
wow.
In one way or another, he's still involved with the creative business because now his law degree is all based on creativity anyway.
Right, right. Will you return to acting, whether on TV or the big screen?
I thought about it. It has to be the right thing. A lot of meetings I was having today were talking about TV content, but I think more in the reality world. I don't mean like a reality show, but I mean like, filming real life happening.
Right, right.
It's almost like a reality show isn't really a reality show anymore. It's more like a written TV show. But yeah, like chronicling everything. So I've been really trying to figure out what TV platform I want to be a part of. But as far as acting in parts, I mean, that's what I grew up doing my whole life, and it's something that I'll know forever. So I want to do the right thing. I just don't want to hop on to just anything. So
right.
That's why I'm focusing more on music, because I know exactly what I want to do.
Right, right. How do you think your sound as an artist has evolved, has changed since being a part of Big Time Rush and now with Heffron Drive? I
mean, initially the songs I was doing for Heffron Drive, all the production is stuff that I do on myself on my computer. For most of the Heffron Drive songs, recently when writing new stuff, I've been teaming up with like the best of the best producers that I've worked with through Big Time Rush. But even now, I'm taking a mobile unit to all my hotels and doing stuff and making songs myself. So my evolution in music, I guess, has gone from being way more emo inspired back in 2008, because I was listening to a lot of Taking Back Sunday and stuff then. And now it's a lot more electronic, but I'm trying to keep it electronic but in an analog way. Like, I've been buying actual analog synths and using those sounds rather than, using a plug-in synth. So I would almost consider it's went from more emo electronic weirdness to now it's sort of in this cool, modern Postal Service kind of place where it's half electronic and half guitar. So it's really cool.
I'm excited to hear the new sound. So I was reading that you're a part of this website called Grom Social. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Grom Social. Yeah.
GromSocial.com. It's an anti-bullying website. And I was reading that you were bullied as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, like typical elementary school stuff.
Gotcha.
And luckily enough, my older brother was in the same school as me, so if anything ever happened, he would just stand there and people would be like, oh, it's an older kid.
Right.
So it's amazing how much the 2-year age difference can make.
Oh, absolutely.
But more importantly than that, I've seen a lot of bullying happening in between fans of different bands, and also just on Twitter, people, seem to want to confess their lives to me, and I see a lot of what's going on in their lives, and a lot of it is being bullied or self-image issues because of being bullied. So it's something I've always wanted to be involved in, and I just recently, teaming up with Zach, got to be able to actually meet someone who was actually doing something. I mean, the kid, they call him the next Mark Zuckerberg, so it's really cool to be on the ground level of something that's, I think he has the potential of turning this website into something that really changes a lot of people's lives. Plus, more importantly, it's like a social network that kids can go to and not worry about any of that stuff.
Right.
There's always someone on the website, so if they get bullied, the person gets kicked off immediately.
Gotcha.
It's not like Twitter.
Good stuff. And the website, again, is gromsocial.com. All right, let's go back to the music. You have this song out called Parallel, which is available on iTunes. No album yet?
No. The album, I'm shooting for September.
Shooting for September. All right. Do you have a title for the album yet?
I'll tell you this. I recently wrote a song while I was in Chicago, and then I finished the song when I was back in L.A. just recently, and the name of the song, I think, is what I'm going to name the album. So
okay.
I do have an album title, and there's obviously a title track, but I'm not saying that that's a single, it's just a title track.
Gotcha.
And then I'm shooting for a number of songs, so all the details are getting worked out now, but pretty much everything's been written, so it's just a matter of getting everything mixed and mastered and compiled at this point.
Nice.
I'll have to call you next time when I'm actually releasing the title.
Absolutely. Please do. All right, so final question. Are you in love right now?
You know what? Who was asking me this the other day if I was in love or had any interest? In fact, I think it was this girl I used to date was asking me if I was currently dating anybody. Currently, I have all kinds of interest in all kinds of different girls, but the only thing is that I'm far more career-driven than I am driven to have a girlfriend at the moment.
Gotcha.
I mean, yeah, I think a lot of different chicks are really hot, but, I'm just sort of focusing on myself at the moment.
That's a good answer. The women aren't going anywhere, and as a matter of fact, when Heffron Drive blows up, they'll be all over you. And I mean, of course, you know this because of Big Time Rush.
What kind of boyfriend would I be if I wasn't able to buy dinner anyway?
Exactly. Thank you, Kendall, so much for taking the time out to talk with me. You're going to be at the Meadowlands State Fair on June 28th. All the details at njfair.com. It's Kendall Schmidt from Heffron Drive. Thanks, man.
Hey, Rashad, you're the man, dude. I appreciate it.